Find your inspiration at Pixel Palette Nation. Find your inspiration at Pixel Palette Nation. Find your inspiration at Pixel Palette Nation.
Please keep us updated and send us pictures.
I will.
But I will say we're about to jump into this news and have some fun. It's, there's a lot of really cool stuff, a lot of kind of, a little bit of sadness into it all, and a little bit of curiosity overall in this news coverage today. But, as with the news, it does not care about our feelings about it. It just happens.
Yeah.
So, so we're gonna be starting off
Like
today.
life,
First of
really.
all, yeah, it's stuff that you're like, oh, that's sad, but also good. Um,
And also, the world keeps turning.
yeah. So, good thing is we're gonna be starting off with a little AI news, and that is Google, Meta, OpenAI have
Okay, okay.
united
I'm
with
gonna
other
stop you there and
industry
disturb you.
artists.
Right? I'm
What's
really
up?
sorry. I'm really sorry. Like, I know I'm always jumping in there. I know I'm annoying, but Rosie, was it today you were in that film? Yeah. She had a part today in a film about AI, so I just had to just throw that in there because I totally forgot. Now I'll shut up and you can go on with the news. Okay, go pick your
Oh, that's
brain.
that's
Is
freaking
it
awesome.
good? Is it good?
Yeah, no, that's
Okay,
amazing.
sorry for cursing.
Um, damn, send it to us. We need to see it, Rosie. And we're getting you up here as soon as possible. Um, whether you like it or not, you are not. You don't have a say in this.
Just now, you're in. That's it.
But all right, so Google, Meta, OpenAI have united with other industry giants to actually protect the abuse of AI child imagery in the industry. So, to fight the spread of child sexual abuse material, they have made a coalition to pretty much put guardrails around any sort of AI technological update in any of their AI tools to make sure that the spread of any of it or the abuse or any sort of like loopholes, roundabout ways to use it are curbed and immediately destroyed. Um, Now, the most interesting thing about this is actually something that's been around since 2012, and that is the DNA. So it's the um, New York-based All Tech is Human, and it's Thorn in New York. Yeah, Thorn in New York based All Tech is Human. Now, this was formerly known as the DNA Foundation, and it was actually launched by the actors Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher. Now, I would recommend anybody listening in on this do just a quick Google search on how many thousands and thousands of kids, specifically Ashton Kutcher himself, has saved from mistreatment, abuse, child sex trafficking rings, things like that. He took this as an extremely hardcore personal project and launched it into an internationally respected company that is used by entire governments. The U.S. government, pretty much most governments in the EU, and I'm pretty sure over in Asia as well. But overall, it's international. He's done the best work possible in this industry, and I just have nothing but respect to it. So just a little side note on that one, personal one. Shout out Ashton Kutcher for doing the good work. The collective pledge was announced this past Tuesday, along with the new Thorne report advocating the safety by design principle in generative AI development that would prevent the creation of child sexual abuse material across the entire life cycle of any AI models. Quote by them what is we urge all companies developing, deploying, maintaining, and using generative AI technologies and products to commit to adopting these safety and design principles and demonstrate their dedication to prevent the creation and spread of CSAM, AIG, CSAM, and other acts of child sexual abuse and exploitation. Now, this is, I'm not going to get into the details about how many files and that, but just to know it's in the millions of suspected use and creation in just the AI part and, all across the dark web. And this coalition pretty much is going in there and making sure that something is being done about it. I couldn't, I don't think that this is definitely a hard topic to sell on its importance. With the use of this technology, we knew that it was going to be abused, but it's absolutely amazing to see that some of the leading giants in the industry are partnering up with an internationally respected, well-known, and very effective company such as Thorn to make sure that this is properly looked at and treated. So I'm happy with it, and I don't think anybody else would be anything else other than happy with it. So shout out again, Ashton Kutcher, doing the good work on this. Now, in other news, whenever it regarding AI and the future of AI, this is something that has been a topic of discussion since the inception of even the thought of artificial intelligence in popular culture. In fact, if you go watch the movie, I think it was a 2014 movie called Her, just called Her. It actually covers this specific topic. It follows a man who got the latest phone update, and it has real artificial intelligence, and he falls in love with the artificial intelligence because it's a personalized one. It's not just a run-of-the-mill. They actually adapt to you. They learn who you are and develop their own personalities, and you can kind of like customize it and everything. Now, in popular culture, that's just a singular case of it, but it's widespread. Guys, if you guys have watched any sort of sci-fi movies or read sci-fi books that mention AI, there's usually some sort of mention of people humanizing them and falling in love with the technology itself. Now, AI assistant users, according to Google, could develop an emotional attachment to them, and I think that's an extremely realistic thing. I mean, humans are extremely attached to various things. They can pack bond with anything. I mean, even Roombas. I know all of my friends that have Roombas, quite literally, they look at them and they're like their little pets. I know that's weird to say, but it is. They look at them and be like, they are little technological animals to them. And I know that seems very inane and just simple and easy to write off as just, oh, it's just something cute. And it is, 99% of the time. However, with the advancement of AI, it is sort of a sign of an easy slope to fall down into whenever it comes to, like I said previously, humanizing these AI and involving emotional connection and investment into it. Now, new research paper from Google's DeepMind AI Research Laboratory highlights the potential benefits of advanced personalized AI assistants. I mean, they can further every aspect of society and radically alter the nature of work, education, creative pursuits. They're going to change how we communicate, coordinate business, social, economic, negotiate with one another. And ultimately, they're going to be playing a large part of our social development moving forward, especially for the newer generations. As a millennial myself, I grew into technology. These new generations, they grew up with technology. They're going to leave us in the dust. And therefore, the next generation, they're going to be, the previous generation X, I believe they're called, they're going to be growing into the AI. Now, the next generation, they're going to be growing up with AI. And that's going to be the one part that we're going to have to look at, is ultimately how this advanced technology, smartphone, social media, and now extremely advanced AI is going to develop their social skills, their understanding of social cues, how they kind of facilitate themselves in any sort of social settings, work settings, even personal settings within themselves. Are they going to be using it as kind of a idea board? Like, oh, hey, can I bounce this idea off my personal AI? Hey, I'm having a sad day. Maybe I talk through it with my personal AI therapist. There's going to be a million different ways that they can utilize it. But it's also going to lead into sort of a dangerous route of, like I said, that emotional investment and attachment. Um, and that double-edged sword will always be there. Um, as the DeepMind Foundation quotes, these artificial agents may even profess their supposed platonic or romantic affection for the user, laying the foundation for users to form long-standing emotional attachment to AI. Left unchecked, such an attachment could lead to a loss of autonomy for the user and loss of social ties because the AI could replace human interaction. Now, this isn't something that's just been purely theoretical. This is something that has already been seen already. There's been already a case that was an AI chatbot was influential enough to actually convince someone to commit suicide. And that was back in 2023. There was, oh my God, Justin, you're going to get this reference. Nobody else will get this reference. 8 years ago, an AI-powered email assistant named Amy Ingram was realistic enough to prompt some users to send love notes and even attempt to visit her at work. And this is something that we truly do have to really think about. How are these? It's not exactly how we are going to be interacting with these AI models. It's how they are going to be acting with us. Will they become so smart that they truly do think, hey, I am real? This is an iRobot situation. Truly, if any, remember Will Smith, everybody. Great movie, terrifying results. Now, this is ultimately an ethical dilemma whenever it comes down to it. Long, you got any opinions on it?
Yeah, I didn't understand the reference that you said I would understand. Like, not even in the slightest.
The AI bot that 8 years ago that was prompting some users to send love notes. The name of it is called Amy Ingram.
Okay, moving past that. Either way, there was a post a little, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago that came out that was pretty much an AI girlfriend that would, like, the background color would change with her mood pretty much, and you would be texting. I'm so sorry. I just received something that just made me laugh because it was so dumb. But you would be texting her. It's a text to chat bot. It's an AI girlfriend, and yes, 100%, I can see how people could grow an emotional attachment to that, which is a scary notion, right? Taking the human sentiment out of this entire thing. And this entire thing being a day-to-day lifestyle, just communication with anything or anyone or anything at that point. Yeah, man, it's scary stuff. It is. It wouldn't shock me that, 2-3 years from now, maybe we hear a news story comes across this space or something, like somebody married their AI girlfriend. That truly wouldn't shock me too much.
That's already.
But I guess. Oh yeah, well there you go, people. But yeah, so it is definitely something that, it is cool to see Google AI, all these people kind of get together as well and try to focus more on the safety and security side of it. But truly, it always is, at least in my mind, is always going to come back to the people using these tools, because there's always going to be some loophole, some way around. So who knows, man? Who knows? Yeah. But interesting to see. Good thing, at least they're doing it publicly for PR, if anything. But hey, they're doing something.
I mean, yeah, that's ultimately what it's going to come down to. As society develops, technology develops, we're going to have to find out a way that we can simultaneously grow and develop with one another while not crippling our own emotional and pretty much social needs. That's going to be the one thing. There's already, even just in this past 23 years, a growing sentiment that people are losing their connection with society, with their social progress because of technology. So it'll be interesting to see how AI influences that. But that's something that we're going to have to find out on our own and see how it develops in real time. It's all speculation at this point. I mean, you can easily say probably, hey, yeah, this is definitely going to be a problem for a small percent of people. But I want to see ultimately what happens on a large scale, because it'll be an ethical dilemma if this truly does kind of take off in the sense that everybody's fearing it to take off. But we won't know until it's happening. But at least, like I said, they're doing something about it preemptively to maybe help curb it as much as they can. Now, I'm going to toss it over to the great long shot for some Bitcoin and Rune updates. Because, guys, sorry, that word always messes me up, and I don't know why. Happy having them.
Halving. Yeah, no, so it's been crazy. I don't know how many people in this room have been really watching the BTC ecosystem over there, but a lot of people had speculation that runes were going to play out similar to the way ordinals play it out in the early days, and so far that tune has rung true. They launched a lot of hype and speculation behind them. Lots of people claiming to have made money. Actually, truly, if you look at some of the charts and some of the sales, not a ton of people made money, but some people did. Definitely some good plays out there over this past weekend, as we saw runes go live on block 840,000, which was incredibly interesting. One big narrative I saw right leading up into Rune's launch was that you needed a Bitcoin node to actually mint or etch anything, which was very true, but only in the very few hours preceding that 840,000 Bitcoin block. Once that halving actually took place and the protocol went live, yeah, the race for like the top 100 etchings was definitely very large. Me and Gray actually sat down the other night, I want to say Monday or Sunday night, and looked at some of the transaction fees that cost to actually do some of those early etchings, and it was astronomical. We're talking, $500,000, almost $500,000 on that very first etching just to get it out there. And it's crazy too, because the very first etching is done by, the very first one actually done by, the creator of the protocol, whose name is escaping me right now. Not Trevor, damn it. It'll come back to me. But, done by him, and then 2 through 10 or whatever was pretty much open. And the very first one that was done was actually done by a mysterious undoxed team who pre-mined, which is pretty much just taking allocation of the total supply, 99% of the total supply of that token. And then made the other 1%, which was, I think, 1 million, right around 1 million, because the total supply was 110 million. They pre-mined, it was 111 million. They pre-mined 110 million of the token. It's still minted out all at 1 token a piece. So one sale, each sale could only mint 1 token, making that perceived market valuation just a little over $1 billion. So there's a lot of speculation on that coin in particular, due to the significant historic aspect that it has behind it, but also the fact that 99% of the total supply is still held by the team, and no one really knows what's going to happen. So good thing to keep an eye on. The name of the token is Zahi, or it's like 4 letters on a 12 ticker setup, because apparently in the first runes it can only be 12-digit tickers for, Casey Rodamore. Damn, it just came to me. Casey Rodamore was the first one to etch. He was the founder of the runes and ordinals. But yeah, so when he set up a 4-year time limit for people to actually create tickers that start at 12 characters and slowly go down from there. So in 4 years, during the next halving, we will see Bitcoin rune tickers go from 12 characters to 11 characters, and then so on and so forth as the halvings continue. There is a case to be made that maybe 4 years is a bit too long, considering some of the best tickers that are actually popping off over on BTC right now are things along the lines of all your tickers suck, and Wanko Manko, which is a tip of the hat to Casey Rodimer's venturing into the furry community in his early days, and that is a true story. You can still go find those articles that he posted, which is pretty much fan fiction erotica, furry novels. But it's interesting. But he actually promoted a few of these coins, which has been crazy to see. And one really interesting thing, at least to me, is the tech behind a lot of this stuff. So ordinals being one of the very first actual on-chain assets. Like you look at NFTs point to a data point that is on-chain 100%, but the actual JPEG itself is not on-chain. But ordinals went and like flipped the script on that and actually put the JPEG on chain, which is the reasoning behind high cost of inscriptions and high cost for etching during high volume times, things like that, depending on how large the file size is, because you're storing the entire thing within the BTC ecosystem. So runes are kind of like a step up from that a little bit. And the integration behind it is going to be interesting to see. A lot of the stuff I've seen personally on the timeline has been FUD about just the user interface, trying to actually exchange a lot of these things. Satoshi Nakamoto being one of the largest traded runes out and available right now. It's definitely top 5, if not top 3 currently. A lot of the people that minted that thing couldn't actually figure out how to sell it. So the way it actually works is like a peer-to-peer system. So think of it almost as NFTs, right? You buy a block of runes almost, and dependent on the way the tokenomics are set up by the team who etched the rune itself is dependent on how many tokens you can actually get per transaction you make while minting. So once the token is fully minted out, then it's just up to holders, right? It's peer-to-peer transactions at that point. People listing what they purchased initially, meaning you can't fractionalize this stuff. If you buy 1,000 runes at 3 sats a piece, and then you go to sell, you can sell only that 1,000 runes at 3 sats a piece, which is kind of a pain in the ass. A little bit understandable considering it is supposed to be a fractionalizable asset that people are able to interchange quickly between hands, and directly off the launch, it just didn't seem to be up to that scale yet. But Casey and others who are heavily ingrained in the ordinals and runes community have been hinting very heavily at some new projects who are coming up with marketplace ideas and things along that nature. So my thoughts on runes truly is, I think it's going to play out very similar to how we've seen ordinals play out. There are a lot of FUD very beginning, but you also have to keep in mind ordinals came out in middle of the bear market, like rough bear market. So seeing runes come out now in this whole new ecosystem. We're about to talk about the China ETF and ETF approval, and we have the US ETF approval. So there's just if you look back 2021, it was a ridiculous feat to see a meme coin hit $10 million in market cap in the span of 3 days. We're now seeing meme coin hit $1 billion market caps in the span of 3 days, just like it's a normal thing. So, we're going into a whole new ecosystem as we launch some of these new tech that we have available. And especially looking at Bitcoin, everybody knows Bitcoin. Everybody knows, at least the normies know of it, right? So you talk about bringing things like JPEGs, you talk about bringing tradable assets and other things that people are actually not priced out of getting inside the Bitcoin ecosystem. And that makes me incredibly bullish. It truly does. So yeah, just something to keep an eye on. Most definitely, if you guys don't know much about it, just like we do, we're definitely no experts up here. But we are going to be trying to get some sort of educational guides together for ordinals and runes going forward. Give us some time on that, but it will be ready soon. And on just a side note, the base education is coming in like a few days. Just finishing touches on that, and we'll have stuff out about base, Farcaster, and so on and so forth. But that's my take on runes. Yeah, keep an eye out. And if you guys have more education or more information on it, feel free to share, man. We honestly love learning about this stuff, and I truly do think runes and ordinals in the next 5 to 10 years are definitely going to print some absolutely ridiculous wealth for people. But I'm going to pass it back on over to Gray. But yeah.
I'm just happy they're here. A lot of things are going on, and like you said, Ordinals probably didn't get the opportunity that it deserved. But it's nice as a person I'm not a Bitcoin maxi anyways. Probably if anybody has heard me talk about Bitcoin, they've heard me say it's an antiquated technology that deserves respect, but also to be delegated is probably just a store of wealth, and that is it. But to see the flagship of cryptocurrency finally getting updates and utility thrown into it, as someone that's been in Web3 for a while, it does have a weird nostalgic kind of fondness and hope to see that it's going somewhere. It's, things are being created. And I'm just happy about it. We've got ordinals, we've got runes, we've got the halving that just happened, and then we've got multiple updates, especially the literally one that right now called OPCAT, which could enable an advanced functionality on Bitcoin, was introduced as a BIP 420 by Taproot Wizards. Co-founder Udi Wertheimer. I probably just butchered that name, so sorry. But if you guys do read this article, it's actually pretty funny. It's
you got it.
It's literally
you got it. Udi is a very well-known character. Udi is a very well-known character in the BTC space. Taproot Wizards, one of the top trending collections over there on Ordinals. I think it's trading right around 0.32 BTC, something like that.
Yeah, I've never had the luck of having someone else say his name, and so I'm glad I got that off the rip. But if you guys go see this article, it's literally him at Bitcoin 2023, and he's like on the stage, and he's literally dressed as probably what you can imagine like a classic D&D wizard from the 90s would look like. And he's just chilling up there, and I respect that. I love the pageantry. But so along with the much anticipated Bitcoin halving events, 420 is come and gone. But if you talk about the meme relevance for it, 420 and 69 have always been huge for any sort of Web3 nonsense. So even whenever it comes to taxes or tokenomics or anything, you usually see some sort of reference to it, especially in the meme coin markets. But the Bitcoin conversation right now is possibly changing Bitcoin software. Advocates of restoring a Satoshi-era command in Bitcoin's programming language was introduced new code on Monday outlining how OPCAT would be used to bring more functionality to Bitcoin. But a notable part of it is including the 420 as the change's purported BIP number. So would be officially called BIP 420. And I'm pretty sure, and later you'll see there's an actual reference to 69 as well. It hasn't been assigned a so-called BIP number in the code repository where others proposed changes to Bitcoin software have historically been vetted, debated, and tracked and everything. But the code repository maintained by volunteers tracks BIPs up to number 389. So, and that's tracking it all the way back to 2011. So the fact that they're doing 420 as a standalone number and not following it in progress is probably just a nod to 420 and the halving. And also just because it's funny and memeable, to be honest. I mean, truthfully, that's really is a huge part of the reason why a lot of things in this space happen, is because it's funny as hell and it's memeable.
Memes dominate. Memes dominate.
Yes.
So obviously memes are going to dominate this space. They just go hand in hand. Yeah, Claire, what's up?
Oh, it says a lot for everyone's maturity. Nixon's 8 and his password to his iPad is 69420.
Well, if I want to hack into Nixon's iPad now, you just gave me the keys, so appreciate that.
Yeah, fly over, mate. That's all he wants.
That's. I mean, honestly though, that is hilarious. I saw Historic Crypto made some post about that today earlier, and I had to go dig into it once I saw it because it was a contract that was CA 69 420 and then a whole bunch of numbers directly preceding that, and I was just like, dude. First of all, it's absolutely ridiculous that the halving came down to 420 like that. Satoshi himself could not have planned that. There's no way, unless they did, which is just insane if they had that much foresight. But at the same time, it's absolutely crazy to see them doing this. Space is run by children, and it's fantastic. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, it's kind of heartwarming because you kind of see that, like, the inner child in all of us is just absolutely dominating the space, and it's going to be funny because, like, I always think of it like long term, right? Like, whenever mass adoption, like, or whatever anybody's visions of what mass adoption could look like or be, and if for historical purposes, for posterity, there's going to be a lot of historical moments recorded in history books regarding, the growth of the Web3 space. And it'll come down to, like, the changes in Bitcoin and Ethereum and rises in other main ones and things like that. And they're going to literally have to straight face read this stuff and be like, yes, the halving of 420 was then followed by Bit 42069 in a great meme coin crash following runes such as Eat Ass for 2069 and all of your rune numbers suck, reaching record highs of billions
All your
of dollars.
tickers suck. All your tickers suck.
Yeah, there you go. And it's going to be things like that, and they're funny, they're dumb, but they're still, like, it's still historically relevant. So I always, I enjoy that because it kind of does break the levity of everything. It adds that funness to historical moments such as that. We do see a lot of things like that whenever World War II ended, and the U.S. was bartering with everybody in Germany, everything like that. Our president went over with 14 rules saying this is what we need to do. And Churchill came up and famously said, 14? Why, God only has 10. Why should we have so many? And it was like that back then, like that was, the one of the funniest things that happened in just such a incredibly serious time. But to have that kind of levity happen, it was just kind of funny.
Everybody slapped their knee around the bar. Now it's crazy. Yeah.
No, exactly. But I do like, even if it is followed by 420 and 69 and everything like that, OP Cats and Bit 420 is still a welcomed update. And I do enjoy that the 420 was not even chosen by the creators. It was chosen by the Bitcoin community itself. So you really do see that kind of democratic support to even making this a memeable moment in history. So
I'm all for it, baby. I'm all for it. Let's do it. Let's start seeing these contracts, because then people are gonna get in here and see them, just be like, "What is that supposed to be like that?" Like, I don't know, if I came in and saw every ETH contract with 69 420, I would have been like, "That can't be, like, somebody's playing a joke, right?"
Yeah, it makes it even better that it isn't. It's a joke because it is serious. But I've got to say, overall, it is an interesting update. It is an interesting thing to look into. I'm glad to see that Bitcoin isn't relegated. Even if there are people like me out there stating that Bitcoin needs to be relegated into some sort of store of value because it is antiquated, I'm glad that the Bitcoin community hasn't given up with that, because I don't think that they ever will, and they're still seeing ways to update it and making sure that it stays relevant and that there's still updates and use cases to come. So I'm very happy to be being constantly proved wrong on this end of things. So a little update, as we've been covering the past few weeks. Hong Kong has now officially stated that they are releasing their Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs to begin trading on April 30th. So pretty massive thing, really massive. That is the Ethereum update, the Ethereum ETFs as well. They are really ahead of the curve on that. So really happy to see such a moment in history, especially from Hong Kong, to be honest. Considering that they've had a history of taking one step forward and then immediately taking one step back. It seems like in this regard, they're really fixing it and going ahead of the game on this. So very happy to hear that. Now, in other news, the IRS, usually, we never go a week without some sort of IRS or SEC shenanigery. whenever it comes down to Web3. And this is
Well, hold on here. Wait 1 second before we jump past this, because I think the Ethereum ETF is not something to just overlook. Or either of them, right? We've seen billions of dollars flow into BTC just from the US ETF. So I'm very, very excited to see how this plays out for Ethereum and the underlying assets on Ethereum, right? Some of the NFTs, some of those large PFP collections, like we've seen Bored Apes reach some levels that we've never seen before, their inception, their rise to where they got to now their their downfall. So I'm very excited to see how much inflows we actually get from these ETFs going forward.
I mean, if anything can be seen from America's, the United States, we have a lot to look
it's
forward
billions.
to, especially
Billions of dollars.
It's the old saying, like Asia hasn't woken up. This is something that's going to keep poking that dragon. It's a huge opportunity to see what this will do for the overall Asian market, especially whenever it comes to just overall retail investment. So I'm excited to just see, give it a few months to see how well this rides out and what ends up happening. Because that's really is, if you guys watched the launch from the US's ETFs, Bitcoin ETFs, and to now, you saw that up, down, sideways, and overall, healthy industry of really getting a lot of retail and commercial investment. So the fact that now we're going to be able to see a really powerful market such as Hong Kong enter the chat on this, it's going to be interesting to see how much, where the ceiling is on this. But overall,
there's been a lot of talk about Ethereum ETF here in the US as well, but I do think one will be approved. I just think we're a few months away from that. Probably, I don't know. My guess is about summertime. Don't quote me on that, but my guess is about mid-summertime. We might start seeing. You got to look back historically. The Bitcoin ETF was delayed 5 to 7 times, maybe more. Just push back for whatever reason. So this is massive that Hong Kong is getting ahead and doing both right off the bat, right? And it'll be interesting to see. I wonder who their BlackRock player is, truly.
Well, so I mean, as far as their BlackRock player, that's going to actually be the China AMC Harvest and Bocera Hashkey. Those are the ones that are pretty much sponsoring the ETFs. And they're quite large. There's other ones that are extremely large, like Tencent. Tencent in China is one of the largest industries in the world. If you guys, literally, no matter what country you're in, they own something you touch. So that's going to be probably a huge thing to keep an eye on is how they have, what they have to do with this. But hey, we'll see. Like I say, give it a few months. Now, for the shenanigans to begin, the IRS is set to kill pseudonymity in crypto. Tax reform proposal raises quite the alarm. Now, the draft of an IRS form appears to indicate that the agency will require self-custodial wallet addresses from DeFi users filing taxes. Now, come 2025, the document form 1099-DA will become mandatory filing for any crypto transaction deemed by the IRS to have sourced from a broker. What exactly that means is still unclear, as with all crypto tax in America. I mean, Jesus. But it will certainly be considered brokerages by the IRS. In November, crypto lobbying groups expressed concern that the tax enforcer could be angling to classify DeFi traders as brokers as well. The fear now appears to be confirmed. The draft IRS 1099-DA form features a box where filers must clarify what type of broker was involved in the crypto transaction being reported. And another box reads unhosted wallet provider, meaning a self-custodial crypto address not affiliated with any third party. Legal experts in the crypto community immediately took the news to mean that the IRS is fully planning to classify DeFi protocols, which run an automated software, were designed in part to protect user privacy, as brokerage firms akin to Charles Schwab or Robinhood. For a quote, the inclusion of open source wallet software providers who in no way broker transactions as brokers is unconstitutional under both the First and Fourth Amendments, a spokesperson for crypto lobbying group Coin Center told Decrypt. We hope future versions of the form exclude that. And this is another thing that is kind of always on the mind of most people. I mean, it doesn't mean just, people in America. It's people all over in every country. Whenever it comes to taxes and crypto, you talk about muddy waters. I'm not fully understanding of it. I've never met anybody that actually knows like fully what they're doing besides the actual experts in the field. PJ, what's up?
Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. So the only question I have for you then, is there a way that we can get transparency and see Nancy Pelosi's tax bracket, how she's actually trading her crypto? That would be pretty awesome.
Actually,
maybe we can understand her process.
Actually, yes, there is a Nancy Pelosi trading bot here on Twitter that posts her trades there in the financial sectors. A lot of people copy trade it. I've done it a little bit. I made a little bit of money while doing it. But yeah, no, very good argument.
Actually, fun fact of the day, whenever I was taking my econ class, that was something I wrote a paper on, is the transparency and laws that should be implemented in regards to like government officials and things like that. And my main argument in it was actually the fact that most people, whenever entering those offices, are not millionaires, but by the time that they're usually around their 5-year mark, they are multimillionaires, and it's usually through trading and assets such as that. And I referenced the Nancy Pelosi trading bot and other trading bots that follow other like senators and congressmen, things like that, and how people successfully copy trade them and are successful. I think it was usually about like on the average, they had a 20 to 30% increase in success above the national average. And which, guys, in trading, that is nothing to be taken lightly. That is an insane jump, and is, any sort of successful trader that knows anything, and I'm not saying I'm an expert in it, but I'm saying others that know a hell of a lot more than me have stated multiple times, a jump in that level percentage increase is not something that happens naturally. That is not something that people can just do. That they're not professional traders when they enter those offices.
No, they're actually suddenly become an entire team of Mark McGuire's, and nobody can figure out how. And less entertaining at that.
Here's the thing with this particular topic, anyway, with the IRS wanting to KYC, private wallets or unregistered wallet addresses. Here's the thing with that. How are they going to be able to tell you which wallet, right? I have like 15 wallets, and that's just like one MetaMask app. Like, so you know what I mean? That's my thing with it. You'd be able to put in whatever wallet. Obviously, transactions over $10,000 could be watched. But if there isn't a wallet attached to it and it's only U.S. citizens, then how are they going to be able to judge where that money is coming from, where the funds are going to, if it's literally just attached to a long string of letters and numbers for the wallet address? But at the same time, you could put a small one in there, a wallet address that you were just doing daily transactions with, have a almost like a vault wallet, like we put that tiered system out recently that people could utilize. If you're doing something like that, I mean, maybe they're tracking transactions to separate wallets, but then at that same, on the same breath, how are you going to be able to prove that is owned by the same person? So I could see this causing a lot of issues going forward, especially trying to declare which wallet is whose and who owns what unless the person is willingly giving up the wallets.
Well, there's also, when it comes to taxes become, I do not pretend to be a tax expert in any way, shape, or form. What's interesting is just some of the proposals that are coming out include a 44% increase in capital gain taxes, that they want to go 44% in capital gains tax. And then another 25% if it's not claimed and it's just an increase in the value proposition of your total assets. They're proposing to tax 25% for individuals with an income over a specific threshold. So the goal is to tax you out of money you haven't even claimed at 25%. If you hit that certain threshold of tax bracket, which is really what we're all trying to achieve, is a higher tax bracket in the end. And then even this tax season, they wanted to know what NFTs I was holding. Well, how can they determine the value? If they can determine the value, I wish they would tell me the formula, because I'm buying the wrong ones. I'm buying the ones I like, not the ones that are worth money. And they're not mutually exclusive, but they are in a way. So
that's the thing, right? Especially with the NFT side of things, it's like more of the fine art, right? You can't put a certain value on a piece of artwork because it's speculative. But the thing with the PFP collections, they're not really looking at like the fine individual artwork that you're buying, unless you're buying like Fidenzas or Lucy collection, something like that. But when you're talking about, because I filled out the exact same stuff, they asked the same thing for PPN.
What happens like the minute I get called into the office and they say, "Hey, can you explain to me what is a crypto dick?" And I'm like, right?
You're like, well, it depends on.
I don't know what that is.
It depends on if you made money or not on it. Because if you made money on it, it's 100% a crypto dick. If you didn't make money on it, then it's just a shitty, useless NFT that's sitting in your wallet.
That's fair.
That's the only thing they care about. So at least the way it was explained to me from the tax attorney I had spoken to, was at least for the fine art stuff, they don't look at that. They look at the PFP collections. They look at the large tradables that have massive volume, massive floor price, things like this that are actually trackable and you can look at it and tangibly say, oh, the floor price is an ETH or whatever. So that's what that asset class is worth. But with the fine art side of things, it's much harder to do because it's a speculative asset. It's worth whatever somebody's willing to pay for it. So when you talk about trading like Fidenzas or you're talking about trading Lucy's, yeah, you're gonna 100% being taxed on those transactions as long as it's coming from a KYC wallet. Which then wraps back into my initial point: don't KYC your wallet on these forms. This is a skit, by the way. If anybody from the IRS is listening, just total just joshing around up here. But don't write that wallet address down in that form if it actually attaches to your name. Or if you do, just keep a very small amount of money in that, right? And then just do daily transactions. So you're making the stuff, but then on the backside, on the skit side of things, you have your actual wallets that are not KYC to your name. That's what's tricky, right? Because a lot of these platforms like Trust Wallet or MetaMask, it's incredibly easy to open up a brand new seed phrase wallet address, and then that wallet address can have like 10 to 15 other wallet addresses also attached to it. So that's what I'm saying. Like you could have one seed phrase, you could KYC like the third or fourth wallet that is down in that. I'm forgetting the technical term for it right now, but that is in that string of wallets that are available to you based on that one mnemonic phrase, and then use a separate one that isn't KYC that's still attached under the same thing. So I see a lot of ways around this, just as there's a lot of ways around. It's such a gray area currently, but it is something to be expected. Honestly, when I saw that question on the tax forms this year, what was it? Have you traded digital assets this year, or have you made money trading digital assets? Something along those lines. When I saw that, I was like, yeah, I bet you in the next 3 years, we're going to see a pretty heavy crackdown on a lot of these different things, any way they can, right? Any way that they possibly can get in here, which is one reason I really like Trust Wallet, because Trust Wallet has not signed up with the SEC yet, or at least hasn't been forced to do so for KYCing like MoonPay customers and whatnot. So one thing to keep an eye on for sure, because MetaMask definitely did that.
Well, it is interesting also, right? And then every state has their own perception of cryptocurrency, the value proposition for. I mean, New York State doesn't let you trade practically anything, from my understanding, whereas other states are much more open to that concept. And I know when I was doing my taxes just recently, and it came to the crypto stuff, it wanted to actually connect to my wallet, and I was like, no, I'm not going to let you connect to my wallet. I will tell you what's in my wallet, but I'm not going to give you electronic access. That's the type of thing that just, how do we, I guess, that's a different conversation probably about people being able to take action and create their own individual lobbying effort to their representatives. I think that's extremely underrated and undervalued. It's certainly not a topic that comes up in many spaces on how people should be advocating to improve Web3 crypto spaces with their legislators, because it becomes a political topic. But it has to be, because if you don't have the discussion and educate people on it, then they'll be subject to whatever comes down the pipe, and you have no room to complain about it.
Welcome to the news spaces, PJ. Happy to have you up here, brother. This is the whole point of this, is to try and get this education through, because it is extremely important to know about these happenings, especially when it comes to the back end, the tax side of things. Like if you're not a U.S. citizen, obviously not too relatable to what you're doing, but if you are, then yeah. And then same applies for if you're not in the U.S. Definitely keep up, and we try to cover as much as we can internationally. Like if there's any new changes, but just being in the U.S., we do kind of live in a bubble, and it's hard to get that outside news sometimes. But yeah, no, it's incredibly useful to keep up with this stuff, truly. And yeah, man, I don't know. I truly do think we are going to start seeing a lot more regulations going forward with this, but there's so many ways around it just due to the nature of this industry. This industry, at least in my understanding, was built on the notion, we can do our own thing. We can govern our own taxes. We can govern our own money. We don't need the bank and financial systems, that we're going to do this our own way. So it's set up in a way that you can literally navigate around the traditional system. So it's going to be interesting to see how they try to stop that, considering this has been roaring for 12 to 14 years now. Maybe even a little bit longer, and have billions and billions of dollars running through it. Literally trillions of dollars running through it. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
I mean, the one thing that I've got to say is I don't want people to think that we're a bunch of hypocrites up here. We do want clarification in these tax laws and everything like that. However, because I'm not against paying taxes. However, it's the proper channels of which they are going about it, and also in addition to that, the proper use of the technology. Because overall, you have to realize that, like what Longshot just said, the entire basis of this industry is built on anonymity and the ability to circumvent the traditional banking industry. That's one of the founding pillars of Web3. So whenever it comes down to the ability to try, especially the U.S. government, are constantly looking ways to truly tame the entire beast of blockchain. It's not possible. This entire technology was built around the belief that it is not able to be owned by a single entity. It is for the people to collectively own, govern, improve, and build upon it. So while we have always been up here screaming at the top of our lungs, we need regulation, we need clarity. It's, we always mean, there's a little asterisk right there. We want proper regulation. We want proper clarity, especially in the tax region. They need to find a way to where, if we're already paying crypto taxes on chain, and then they turn around and say, hey, guess what? Just like PJ said, increase the capital gains tax. Hey, guess what? And after that, you're going to have to pay X, Y, and Z trading tax at the end of the year for your forms. And then, hey, guess what? Blah, 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 blah. You really do have to start thinking, at what point is this going to be an overtaxed asset? And are they just pretty much forcing the entire industry to remain detached from a regulated space because they're trying to tame something that is not tameable. It's almost like in Norse mythology, Fenrir wasn't bound by chains. Fenrir was bound by the concepts of hope and dreams and everything like that. It was not truly bound by anything real, because they couldn't bound it by any mortal means. And that is truly a good reference for what blockchain is. They can't bind it by any sort of conventional means. There is no way to.
Sir, I just want to say for the record, hey there. Yeah, but I'm against taxes altogether, eh?
Yeah, I did want to say that was a pretty stark intro that you started right there. I like paying I do not like paying 49%.
I'm not saying I speak for them. I enjoy proper taxes. I don't enjoy mismanaged
I do
use
not
of
like taxes at all. I do not like taxes at all. There is no such thing as a proper tax. I'm sure somewhere in my lineage, somebody threw tea over a boat for it.
Okay. This is where the topic gets political. When we're talking crypto taxes, that's a different conversation. Yeah. I'm gonna jump in and mother the space right.
I will say I agree. We'll deter from that from right here. But yeah, like I said, it's a complicated problem to be solved. I mean, crypto and taxes and regulation is not something that is going to be solved anytime soon. I'm glad that they're trying, but it seems like they are truly trying to shoot themselves and everybody else in the foot along the way. But we'll just have to sit back and relax.
What's that saying? It's death and taxes soon. 10, give it 10, 20 years. Crypto, death, and taxes. That's going to be it.
Yeah. That's that, and I agree. Oh, Frisky, what's up?
Hey, why don't they just fucking tax the insider trading if they want more taxes? How about that, huh?
I love you, Frisky. That's supported by PPN right there. That's a comment supported by PPN. But no, truly, like that is something to be looked at. But you know, it is what it is. But there is one thing that you can do about it, instead of just sitting back and relaxing and watching the show go on. And it's something that PJ brought to focus. And it is something we actually should have a space about, and that is write to your local congressman. You know, write to your political leaders. Voice your opinion. I mean, if there is something that you can do, if you're not running for office yourself, that is it. Pick up the phone, write a letter. I don't know, send them a fucking postcard. Who knows? But
you know, one thing actually, you know, what real quick before we get out of here, one thing I do want to bring to everybody's attention, because I'm not too sure how many people saw it, but Edward Snowden recently shared
social media.
He recently shared a bill that passed through the U.S. Congress, which was more intrusive than what were the
so pretty much effectively the bill that got passed, it's kind of in conjunction with everybody else. I'm sure everybody has heard about the TikTok bill that they're trying to pass to pretty much like ban TikTok in the United States. This is almost something that is similar, parallel to that, but it also is running in conjunction and is an update and a reconfirmation of a part of the Patriot Act that was passed after 9/11. It was pretty much all a wrap-up of anti-terrorism and things like that. It's actually the creation of the NSA, the Patriot Act, that Edward Snowden got exiled and was the whistleblower of. So this entire bill covers social media and any sort of internet providers.
It's everything. Every data collection service. Every data collection service.
Anything. But they're mostly using it as a focus of, like, you know, from Verizon to Facebook to WhatsApp to Signal to Telegram to X. It doesn't matter if it is a NordVPN, if it provides data, if it provides a signal to your Wi-Fi, it doesn't matter. They will have to report, if requested, to the government. Any sort of messages, any sort of data, any sort of details they request.
In short,
That's- yeah.
all of your
Yeah,
information,
very
everybody's private information is not safe anymore. I mean, personally, I don't think it was safe in the first place, but now it's legally not safe. Yeah, Frisky, what's up?
Do you think they can even have the data from my Traeger smoker? Because there's some trade secrets on that that I don't think I want released public.
Your what? Your smoker?
Yeah, electronic smoker.
Oh,
Plug it in, it connects to your Wi-Fi.
dude, you know what's
Yeah.
actually crazy that you bring that up? I saw a video of some hacker dude the other day that was talking about how any connection can be taken over, blah blah blah. And he recently purchased a mop that was a smart mop and traced the IP signal back to someplace in China. So that's fantastic. But good point. I mean, everything is smart these days, right? There's literally smart refrigerators that tell people to.
My
to not
parents have a
eat.
smart mirror in their bathroom.
Yeah, see, like I mean, dude, it's crazy. Like I miss the days of the clapper, right? I was stoked with the clapper, but that's just me. Technology keeps moving forward. All right, people, I think we're about to wrap this
One last update, one very 2-second update. So the U.S. Department of Justice seeks 3-year jail sentence for former Binance CEO CZ. Now, quick update on this. The 36-month sentencing recommendation goes over and above federal sentencing guidelines that would originally have seen just 18 months, but they are looking for harsher than expected sentencing because pretty much not justice in the message to Zhao, but also the rest of the world. We've been covering this since it started. Just wanted to get that last little update in. I
mean, what? Like, Sam Bankman-Fried wasn't as big enough of a skeptical that they needed. They had to be like, let's get Jesus crypto behind bars here. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that is the last update. And truthfully, I think that this news space was great. PJ, Claire, Frisky, Glencora's sister. Everybody, thank you for bringing in your own opinions, your own updates, things like that. And PJ, we're definitely going to have to get on the back end and get some coverage on that kind of, engagement. But thank you. Guys, we have a YouTube. We're live streaming all of this. Please go like, subscribe, watch the live streams. We are doing this to all of our streams. And we do have another space coming up this Saturday, 9 a.m. EST with Denver Donkey. And in addition to that, we are currently scheduling out another event in our Discord, and that is with Black AI. It's an artist workshop, and it's going to discuss pretty much creating an artistic narrative. And so go put a reminder in the Discord. There's a live event, just a little click, and be ready. It's at May 6th at 2 p.m. EST in the Discord, and it's going to be a wonderful opportunity. And truthfully, if you want to get a little bit of a deep dive into what it's going to be about, go watch our previous spaces. The links to them are in our Discord and updates and notes talking about philosophy and art, and then also Black AI's Alpha versus Omega drop. Those two spaces are incredibly insightful, and I would highly recommend all of you guys go listen to them. Now, with that, guys, please go check out the New York Knights drop on Object. We just launched yesterday. It was trending 13 on Object. It could have gotten higher, but I was busy with work and school, and then he passed out. So sadly, we missed where else it led to. But it was a wonderful collection. Please go check it out. Give props to the artists. They did beautiful work, and be prepared for next year's edition of it whenever NFT NYC 2025 comes, so that we can again fight the FOMO. With that, Pixel Pal Nation is always here to help you guys with the community. Come reach out to us with your own ideas, and we'll support them as best as we can. And with that, find your
inspiration at Pixel Palette Nation. Find your inspiration at Pixel Palette Nation. Find your inspiration at Pixel Palette Nation.